Says we're live.
Yeah, we are live again. Mrs. Squarebody,
Look at you and
tell me to.
you and Amber getting the link there at the same exact time.
Yeah. So, anybody who wants to join in on the video, go live, just click that link. And yeah, we'll wait till people get back in here. I think we'll hit the unpause button. And hopefully one of us remembers where we were at on the pause button.
Okay, I remember where we're at, but we were kind of at the end of we were at the conclusion of a story.
Yeah. The reloading fun's here. He's made it back. Robert's back. We've got aluminum shards everywhere. Oh, Jacob must be
I know what he's doing.
still grinding away on some little aluminum Corvette heads, trying to match my hogging out that I done on the first head. Hopefully it's going good for him. I'm looking forward to seeing that little engine of his being upgraded.
Yes. So that's kind of the double-edged sword with aluminum. It's a lot softer and easier to work with, but cast iron makes more like a dusty powder when you pour it, and aluminum makes sharp little needles everywhere.
Yep. Yeah. I lived that life for 3 years when I was modifying chainsaws. I mean, my hands had black speckles all over because it's little pieces of aluminum stuck in my hand, and then grease and dirt would get in there and just make black rings around those little pieces of aluminum. And I sit there and dig some of them out. And I made the mistake one night. I had my Crocs on, and I went out just to check something out in my shop. I wasn't going to do anything. I just went out there to look at something. Well, I got sidetracked and started working on it. I got a brainstorm going on when I was out there. So I started grinding away on a cylinder and wasn't thinking about all that stuff getting me. I had aluminum shavings in my feet, and that was very uncomfortable.
Wow. So Reloading Fun put his question back about tires for no-name nationals. I don't think there's any tires unless you're running the 28-10-5 class if they have that again.
Yeah, that would be the only class that has a certain size requirement. It's the 28-10-5 class. Everything else is, run whatever you have. If you just got street tires, you can run those. Obviously, you don't want to put bald trailer tires and try to run down the track. They got certain safety rules, but
they need to be safe.
Yeah.
No steel belts showing, properly inflated, but
yeah, I really need to seriously think about replacing the tires of my drag slicks with the radials we talked about earlier or something, because mine are getting some age on them, and they don't look any worse than what they did after going to the track and making 3 passes. They don't look any worse than they did before, but they're still starting to show a few little cracks around the edges. And
I'm kind of I really, really, really want to go to, like you're talking about, like a 275/60 drag radial. But the slicks that I have are less than 2 years old and might have 10 passes on them.
Yeah.
And I just can't. I just can't. My thing is if they were wore out, no problem. I'd put the 275/60s and run in the 28-10-5 class at No Name Nationals. But being as I know what's going to show up to race in that race, I'm not going to buy a set of slicks to try to race it. If I had the right size, I would just run it just for fun. But I'm not going to spend the money on a set of slicks when I know that I really don't have a chance of winning that class. I mean, there's it's just not. There's not I don't have enough truck for that class to spend the money on
Oh
the
yeah.
slicks. If I had them, I would definitely run it, but I'm just not. I don't foresee wearing them out between now and then, but anything's possible. I do have drag racing fever after your video.
Yeah. Well, that
I'm
was,
trying to work out 276 gears in a cobbled together drive shaft down the drag strip. I just don't think it's a good idea. I told them I want to go to the drag strip.
Well, yeah, but like I was talking about earlier, my tires, like I need to replace them anyways. I'm just trying to make up my mind if I want to go with the, 28-10-5, slick, or 275-60 radial, or what I
They say
really
if
want to
you can make a
go
radial
with.
work faster than slicks.
Yeah, that's and kind of what I was thinking is just get the radials that way. Not that I'm going to go win any classes. I'm outclassed no matter what class I get in. It doesn't matter unless I get into bracket racing, and that truck's not even going to be good for bracket racing because it's not, being a manual and all that stuff.
Index racing, it would be very good in it for index racing.
And I've thought about that. But yeah, I think my tire purchase will be something that, I can make work in using whatever I want to get into. If I just, just get into a class just to get the truck out there. I don't.
Just for fun.
There's got to be a loser, and it might as well be the guy that's happy about losing because, I know I'm not going to be first.
And that's me. I don't mind taking last place, but I'm not going to spend $600 when I know that I'm not going to be competitive.
Yeah.
But the only reason I bought the tires that I have is on one of those calculators. It wasn't the exact one you use, but I'm like, okay, how fast do I think this truck's going to go? I've never raced this truck. I've never raced a big block before. I know what gears I've got. Let me just guess. And I'm like, okay, well, if I do go that fast, then I'm going to want to have this size tire. Well, that's what I'm going to buy. And quarter mile, I don't think I'm pretty close. And the track that we raced at in Colorado was a quarter mile track, so I set it up to run quarter mile. Had I known that I was going to be running mostly eighth mile living down here and then the whole Sykeston thing, wouldn't have been as big a deal. But I'm sure I could get away with a 28-10-5 at the track I raced at in Colorado because the truck is almost a second slower there than it is down here because of the altitude. And then I would have been fine. But either way, I just guessed. And that's actually what they had in stock. They didn't have any 28-10-5s in stock. They had 29-10-5s in stock. So that's what I bought. Had I known now if I knew then what I know now, I would have just waited and ordered the 28-10-5s. Just because they're a more universal class size tire.
Of course, then my other deal is which ones do I get? Which ones are actually better all around? The Hoosiers or in Mickey Thompson's or I've talked to Ryan about it before, and he's pretty knowledgeable on that kind of stuff because he's been around it. Yeah, so I need to get back with Ryan and have him convince me of which ones I really need to get. No, I don't think I even touched the combustion chambers yet, or did I? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't. He'll have to get back with me and tell me if I actually did something with the combustion chambers on that one head because I don't remember if I've done anything with it yet.
I want to know where the cool kids at.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we go hang out with them.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm dying. I hate it when I drink coffee down the wrong pipe.
Yeah.
I think that's hereditary. My dad does that all the time. And my daughter does it too.
Yeah. I have a bad habit doing it. My wife does it too. It's just, well, I don't know.
Maybe it's just being human. Maybe it's a species thing.
Don't know how to drink correctly.
Yeah. I had a thought. There's nobody here to talk to me, so it definitely was just lost in my own head, and I don't remember what it was now.
Okay. It'll come back to you maybe.
Maybe. 2X is
Hey,
here. How's it going?
Mr. Jeffro. Randy Smith, that's my neighbor
Hello, Randy.
down the road. Yeah. Now what are we talking about?
I don't know.
our
I had a thought.
Our rabbit trails ended. We got the tires talked about, but that's.
I really can't remember what I was thinking about that I wanted to mention, but it's gone now. All I'm going to do is make smoke come out of my ears trying to remember what it was. So.
Yeah, you look like you're.
I am. It's killing me. I'm really having a hard time with this right now.
I think that's why you and I get along so great, because our personalities, our minds, like, it's scary similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll lose my train of thought just like that. I mean, it's gone.
Yeah. And
I've learned
I know it sounded like it was a good topic I was trying to think. We were talking about tires, and then he was talking about combustion chambers, and those two subjects don't even go together. But somehow I had another. I don't know. Let's talk about Squeaky at the track.
Oh, Jamie. Yeah, that's true. Get Ryan on here. He's never at a loss for words.
Yes.
That's for sure. The mouth of the South, Ryan Wing. Looks pretty messed with me. So maybe I did get to the combustion chambers on those heads. It's been a while. So, and I never thought I should have. If I did, I should have sent you with the valves to put in those heads to grind around that are already ground on. Just some old valves. Uh-oh.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Lost another legend. So I don't know what to talk about now. We've kind of on a roll in the first part of live. Now, we got what size cam and heads do you have on Squeaky compression ratio? Are you talking about the big block or the 339?
I agree. It sounded
Thanks,
good.
Randy. Yeah, and it's kind of weird for me to talk about because of my truck, and I don't want to brag about it too much. I mean, I'm proud of the truck, but no doubt. But when I was talking about editing the video, I was actually not wanting to, because I was like, man, it's gonna look super slow. It's gonna, but when I started watching, it's like, wow, it really sounds good. I mean, for what it is, it sounds good. I mean, the initial takeoff, it's kind of slow and painful.
But it's not. You could hear, like we were talking about, if listening to the video, the first couple runs you could hear it driving through the clutch.
Yeah.
And then the last run you could hear that it didn't drive through the clutch and it bogged the motor. But that's just like we were talking, that's just experimenting. If you never tried the
Yeah.
third gear launch, you never would have known that it was that may be a problem with it. I thought for sure when you were talking about it that it was going to be the golden combination, and it just apparently something's not. One piece of that
And
puzzle is missing.
well, two pieces. A clutch that can really handle it. I mean, I've got a good McCoy clutch in it. I didn't have the budget to spend the money on an absolutely awesome, super awesome clutch, but I got a really, really good clutch.
Yep.
I forget now. It's like a 6 or 7 puck brass button clutch.
Yep.
And I can't even remember now if it's a diaphragm or the lever type pressure plate. But anyways, it's real similar to the clutch I used for years in my crew cab truck pulling, and that's why I thought, man, that if this acts like that clutch, the more you slip that clutch, the hotter, stickier it got, and it loved being slipped.
Yeah.
Because it would, if you slipped it, it would get hot and sticky and grab. And I actually had it a couple times at the end of the track on truck pulling that when I went to push the clutch in, you could feel it pop because it was not necessarily trying to glue itself, but that's just the design of that hard brass material that clutch disc was made out of. It was a six or 7 puck button clutch, but and it wasn't anything real special. I had it up there at Springfield at Best Built, I think. Clutch and driveline, they build them there, and I said I just want one for truck pulling. It's okay. Here you go.
That might be an idea, is have them build you a clutch exactly the same as what you had. I mean, it's similar, but it may, you never know what they might have put in that other clutch. It might be something different material, looks the same, you know.
Yeah, it could be close, but not the same. So on the cam and heads on the big block. Okay, camshaft. Oh, we're gonna go. We've been talking all this time about our memories, and I can't remember numbers. So I'll do my best. If I was in the shop, I know where the cam card's at, but I'm not gonna go all the way out there and come back. I'm wanting to say the lift, or the duration is 218, 224 at 50. And the lift is right around 500 lift. It's not a very big cam. I originally bought that cam probably 3 years ago, just been sitting on the shelf to put in my crew cab because it's just a little bit bigger than the cam that's in that 468 that's in my crew cab. And it has a wider, has a 114 LSA on it, lobe separation angle. So it's actually good. It's actually a decent cam for boost or nitrous because it doesn't have a lot of overlap. It's a Summit. I can't remember their part number, but it's a Summit brand, just a cheap Summit cam. And that's the second one I've used. And the 339 is going to have a Summit Racing. That's 1107 is the grind number on it, or the part number. But I'm really happy with their camshafts for what they are.
Yeah.
Just a cheap hydraulic flat tappet. They've got some good numbers and they perform really well. But the heads are 781, 119 cc combustion chambers, standard valves, nothing special with the heads. I did do a little pocket porting on them before I stuck them on this block. It's a Gen 5 short block, just standard compression ratio, which I think is probably 7.5 to 1, maybe 8 to 1 on a big block, but it's really nothing special. and I got to remind myself that too. That big block is not for going fast, but it does pull to 6,000 RPM really nicely.
Nice.
I'm kind of impressed that it, some big blocks, they get about 5,500 RPM. That's kind of plateau because they're just not made for, the camshaft and all that stuff. They just don't have enough power after that. But this one's still pulling pretty hard to 6,000 RPM. That's where I'm trying to shift it at. Let's see. Oh, Reloading Fun, so you can ask some more tire questions. Yeah, ask away. I'll try to keep up with the chat. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to go because I don't think, like we talked about earlier, two pieces of the puzzle is the clutch and the other piece is horsepower. If I have the horsepower, I can make those gear ratios work, but I'll have to also have a clutch to be able to handle that much horsepower, pushing that much weight. I mean, it is doable.
Weight is the third big factor in that. It's not a little lightweight car.
Let's see, and then the other thing that kept going through my mind is like at Sykeston, the one launch I got at Sykeston. Now it bogged really hard, but it hooked and almost got the front tires off the ground. It's like, but I don't know if I want to keep doing that. I don't know. It's a learning process, but I think I'm going to try because I know for a fact that if I take off in second, my 60-foot times are going to go a lot lower.
Yeah.
And I think the 60-foot, I can make up the time that I'm going to lose with that extra shift in the gear ratio spread. I think it'll either all work out or be the same or be a wash. But
I don't think it'll be a wash. I think you'll because I'm betting that you'll get. This is just. I have no reason, no way to back this up, but I'm thinking that you could get at least sub 2 second 60-foot times by the second gear launch, and you'll make up. I don't think you'll lose the 2/10 in a shift, in an extra shift, and you're already dealing with that third gear ratio. Instead of from a stop, you'll be running along 30, 40 miles an hour at that point when you shift it. So
So I think it'll. And the other thing is even if it comes out to wash, it's actually going to be easier on everything starting out in second gear.
Especially that poor clutch.
That clutch. I mean, it don't feel bad. It's just I know the first. I need to go back and retouch on the first pass I made in the video. If you watch the video, you see me come up the staging to come up to try to stage, and I'm revving it up. I'm on the two-step, and it's just barely moving forward. Well, what I was doing is, let's see, I think I got the pre-stage bulbs lit, and I was trying to ease into stage on the two-step with the line lock on. So it's basically just trying to push the front tires, but I set my brake too hard.
Oh.
Because, I mean, if you just barely push the brake and set your line lock, you just got a little bit of pressure holding your front end. I just wanted enough to creep in, already be on the two-step, just kind of practice that. And I had the brakes too hard. It was pushing. So that first pass, the clutch really took a beating because it was really hot by the time. And if anybody noticed, I may have edited, kind of done a little funky stuff with the editing, but I read it. I couldn't. As soon as I seen the staging bulbs light, I just took off. Which it don't matter. I wasn't racing anybody, but I didn't even know I red lit until I was looking back through the video. I don't even know if it said. Usually it says red light on the time slip. but it didn't say red light. But at that time of day, yeah, but at that time of day, at that track, the sun, if you're in the left lane and you're looking at the tree, the sun is directly behind the tree.
Oh.
And I didn't clean my windshield. I mean, a million excuses. I was having a hard time seeing the tree and what was going on and tried to focus on what I was doing. First trip out, jitters, all sorts of stuff. I should have just pulled up there and just took off nice and easy like I was driving up the road. But,
yeah.
you know, once it actually took off, my idea originally was just to take off, not even mat it, just get going. Well, it took off, and it's got the best of me. I said to the floor, I knew the clutch was. I couldn't tell at that moment if it was the clutch or tire spin, and then I realized it was the clutch slipping. And about the time I realized it hooked. So I was like, I just stayed in it. But yeah, that clutch was really, really hot on that first pass when I finally took off. But I tried not to do that on the second pass. And then the third pass, I upped my RPM launch to 4,000 and almost all but dumped the clutch. I didn't want to just dump it, but oh, yeah. Yeah, and I'll explain why I'm trying that, the theory and the idea behind starting out in third gear. One, I only have to shift once. The gear spread between second and third is so wide that I'm trying to get away from that and the actual physical movement of shifting. But the reason I think or thought it might work is because third gear on that transmission is roughly the same gear ratio as first gear in a 2-speed power glide. But then you go back to a power glide is a high, it's an automatic. So you got the slippage of the torque converter and all that stuff.
Yeah, torque multiplication and all that.
Yeah. So it's not. It's a theory. It was something I wanted to play with and try and see if I can make it work. And I think I can make it work. It's going to be a while before I can actually make it work the right way and hold.
Yeah.
Oh no. This is my crew cab has got a 218. It's a comp cams 268, which is 218 at 50 on the duration, and they've got torque for days and good mid range. So I could take Squeaky. Of course, he does have 488 gears, but when I put the 37-inch military tires on that I run on the street, the final drive ratio with that size tires almost like having between 373 and 410 with a standard size tire, like a 30-inch tire.
Yeah.
And that thing's got enough torque. I could take off up a hill in third gear and not really even slip the clutch a whole lot, just take off. My normal driving with that truck, if I'm just going somewhere, is third and fourth. Now, if I'm moving it around the place, pulling in the shop, I'll put it in second. Low gear, granny low, is just.
That's the walk next to it gear.
Yeah. But no, that cab is still pretty, really, really mild. It's still got a lot of bottom end torque. Ugly Truck Experience is back.
Welcome back.
don't know if they missed a whole lot, but yeah. So if I get a clutch that works and all that, maybe the third gear thing might work on down the road.
Looks like Richard's back.
Richard's back.
I think that, like you were talking about with whatever the clutch that you had in your crew cab, where as it's heating up, it gets bitey.
Yeah.
I think that could be a solution to your current problem, but kind of thinking about what you're talking about, if it's so bitey that after it does that initial bite, it has a little bit of trouble releasing, that might not be so good for the 3/4 shift when you're trying to do it in a hurry.
Yeah.
So anything is possible with the right parts. It's, do you want to spend the money to be able to, is it worth it?
That's the thing, is I regret not just going up to Springfield and buying another clutch like I used to have, but I spent quite a bit more on a fancy red one that has McLeod on it, and I got some stickers. But
Yeah.
I'm not as happy with this clutch as I was with that other clutch, and that clutch lasted for years and years, and not just normal driving. It's, full season of truck pulling. I used to skid trees with that truck. I mean, I all my firewood and stuff like that, I would cut it down. I'd skid it out of the woods with my truck.
Yeah.
And it just, and instead of dropping a gear or anything, I would feather the clutch like you would on a dirt bike. If I need a little bit of RPM,
you were very nice to that clutch.
I've not been nice to that truck for most of the years. Yeah, I don't have any problem lugging either one of those trucks down. I guess still got plenty of torque with that. I mean, it's a really, I wouldn't say small cam. It's bigger than factory, but it's still on the small side of big block cams. And actually, the cam that I have in my little 350, it's in cream puff. It's a 224 at 50 duration. The comp cam's 270, and I really like it for an all around cam. I thought it might be a little bit big for those tall gears, but it does great. It has a nice lumpy idle, and it performs good all the way around. Still good vacuum. Richard likes the in-cab view.
Yeah.
Thanks. I never know how that's going to turn out, because I'll talk to my camera, and then I stick it upside down like this, and I go, because it's on a magnetic base, and it's the one I have in my truck is the one of my old GoPros. So I'll just talk to it, and I know I kind of got a certain spot and feel of how it needs to go, and like look at it. But also have my new hat hanger in the truck. My hat was hanging right there. I thought, I'm hoping that's not all you see is my hat sitting there, but I don't think it got in the way too bad.
I thought the in-cab, I thought it was good. It looked like you set the camera up and left it in the same spot. I didn't realize you were moving it every time.
Nope. As soon as I get to the end of the track and come around, and I'll stop at the return lane, stop at the end, and take my helmet and everything off, and I'll just grab the camera and start talking to it. And then when I edit it, I have to rotate it. When I splice it and edit it, I have to rotate the
because it's all upside down?
view. Yeah, because it's upside down. But it works out great.
First Responder Garage made it. How's it going?
Hey, there he is. Yeah, I found a deal on Amazon, and I could get two for like $36.
Nice.
And so I bought a pair of them. I got to put one in cream puff. I need to buy a couple more, put in my other trucks, because it's nice to have those hat hangers. I mean, my felt hat that I wore in that video that I wear a lot of times with my patch on it, that's probably the highest quality hat I have as far as a felt hat. But it's a beater. It's my work hat. I don't care about throwing it down in the dirt or wearing it, getting grease, or throwing it down, or if it gets a little misshapen, it just goes right back to the same shape.
Huh.
It's an old hat I picked up at a flea market, like $10, and it was in rough shape. It had the sweat caked up stuff around it. It had a weird shape from like sitting in a closet or something. And I told my wife, I said, I've got to have this hat. It had a short brim, and it's got like most of them have a wider brim like these do. That one's got like a half-inch shorter brim. I wasn't sure if I'd like it or not, but I got it home, cleaned it up, reshaped it, and now it's kind of taken on its own shape and shape to my head. Now it's like, I love that hat.
Wait, I lost the thought.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to. There's an analogy like that, like fits like an old something, but it escapes me what the term is. It doesn't.
Old pair of boots, or
yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he doesn't need help forgetting.
Well, it's not that I forgot the train of thought there. I never really had it. I know there's a saying, but I can't remember what the. I think you got it's like an old pair of boots and an old pair of shoes or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And the bad thing is I'll never be able to find a hat just like that.
No.
Ever to replace it. It's
got it had a life before you got it, and then you've given it new life, and you can't duplicate that.
No. It's it's just one of them things. Of course I like my Western hats, but I've got a collection of them, but you get the one like that one that just fits good, and it's like a pair of gloves. And it's hard to find gloves to fit these fat little sausages, because if I get them big enough to fit my palms and my fat fingers, then the fingers are too long.
Yeah.
So I have to get like an extra large, turn them inside out, sew the fingers up with my leather machine or leather sewing machine, and then trim them and actually custom fit my gloves so they fit my hands right.
That's cool. You have the ability to do that.
Yeah. Because I've always hated wearing gloves, mainly for that reason, because the thumbs, I usually have to cut like a half-inch off the thumbs, and the rest of the fingers are usually okay on a decent pair of gloves, but then my pinky, I'll have like a half-inch of gloves sticking off my pinky, and it's just annoying. You can't, they don't fit like a glove.
I have a hard time wearing gloves. I guess maybe it's a fitment thing, but I don't feel like I have any dexterity with them on. Like I can't feel stuff. I should wear gloves more, but I don't.
That's the other thing. I used to, you can't feel anything, but anymore these days, I don't have a whole lot of feeling in my fingers anymore. So it's like it don't really matter. I can't, with gloves or without gloves, I still can't feel anything. So we had at work here a couple of weeks ago, somebody was cooking some bacon in one of the toaster ovens in the break room. And I was watching it, and it started smoking a little bit. And I'm like, that's not going to be very good bacon. It's like one of them little electric ones, countertop toaster ovens. And I had my food in the microwave just like kind of right next to it. I'm looking at this stuff like, okay, it's smoking pretty good now. And my food's done in the microwave. I look over, there's flames coming out of this toaster oven.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then they get high enough, almost touching the bottom of the cabinet. So I move the toaster oven, unplug it, move it to the edge of the counter so the flames aren't touching the bottom of the cabinet. I'm like looking around, it's like, is this anybody's food? I mean, I don't know. And everybody else is kind of looking at me like, crap. Then, I got flames like 2 foot coming out of this toaster oven when I open the door. I don't have any gloves with me. There's nothing there. I grab a piece of aluminum foil, fold it up, and grab the thing out with flames shooting off of it, flaming bacon. And I set it in the sink. The sink is right there close by, about 3 feet away. I just grab it up, set it in the sink, and not even think about it. It was hot enough to literally spontaneously combust this bacon. I might as well be grabbing it with my bare hands because I had just aluminum foil.
Yeah.
And set it in the sink, and the guy that's baking is like, "Oh, turn the water on." And he's like, "No, grease fire. Don't use water." He's like going a million miles an hour. I'm like, I took the piece of aluminum foil, set over the top of it, and then turned the water on and said, "It's fine." On that toaster oven, it was flaming with the door open or door closed. It started flaming out of the door. Yeah, it was a trip. Yeah, he's talking about my fingers. That's what I call my little sausages. And sometimes I don't realize, what my hands look like unless I'm watching myself on video, and like a close up of me doing something. Like, man, those are some short, fat fingers.
Stick it in the bread cabinet. So I'm no cook or anything, but it just seems to me that bacon in the toaster oven was a bad idea to begin with. And is that a normal thing, like to cook bacon in a toaster oven?
I guess. I mean, we cook bacon in our, regular oven all the time, or my wife does. When I cook bacon, I cook it in my cast iron skillet, but she'll cook a bunch of it in the oven. It's the same thing. But
was it on a pan or something, or was it?
Yeah, it was on a pan.
Oh, okay.
But the heat was too high, and it burned it to a crisp, and then it just spontaneously combusted. It was in there. Yeah. Last time I cooked bacon was on my Blackstone griddle. I got that.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen it.
Yep.
But I got 36-inch Blackstone, and I cooked like 2 packages, about a package and a half of bacon on it all at once. That's cool. I love that thing.
So first responder said you get used to it, builds finger strength. I think he's talking about the gloves, and I'm working on it, but I don't like wearing gloves. I never have liked wearing gloves. When I was trucking, dealing with the straps and stuff all the time, I got better at it, and I'm better at it now. And I got a pair of these gloves that I found them in that garage stuff that I bought, and they're like the perfect gloves, but they're getting pretty ratty looking.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer, and I don't know what I'm going to do when they're wore out because I've never seen these gloves for sale anywhere. So I do once in a while find a pair of gloves that I really like. And once they're broken like this and they're soft, I can stand to wear them. But when they're brand new, that's my problem. I have a hard time wearing the gloves through that whole break-in period when they're, like you were talking about, they're rigid and they're sticking out and you can't,
Yeah. I try to get, the yellow farmer's gloves, what you want to call them, from MFA. Actually, my favorite ones I got were from Harbor Freight. Just the yellow. I think they were goat hide. No, they're deer hide.
Deer skin.
But they were really really thin, but they were sturdy. They lasted a long time for Harbor Freight gloves, and they actually fit the best right off the bat. I didn't have to trim them as much or fit them as much.
Huh.
I was able to get them in a large because they were a little bit tight, but they stretched, and since they were thin, they worked really good. I need to get another pair, but they're like $20 now. I got them on sale that first time. But yeah, I've getting gloves. It kind of sucks, but I've made my wife has been the biggest advocate wearing gloves in the last couple of years. Had a little incident in a hog pen, and I fell down and had something go through my palm almost to the bone, and pig manure, everything, all that bacteria in there. And if I had gloves on, it may have slowed it down a little bit. I think it still would have gotten my hand, but and every time I go to fix fence or do anything, I start bleeding. He's like, you got to start wearing gloves. I said, "What? I never have them around. I always leave them here, leave them there. If I'm in one truck, they're in another truck." She goes, "Well, buy 50 pair of gloves and keep them in each truck." Kind of like reading glasses now.
Yeah.
He's probably talking about my hood latch video to use a coat hanger or welding rod to get the hood latch. If your cable breaks on the 81 and newer square bodies, that have the cable and the latch is under the hood, in between the radiator support and the hood. You cannot access it, even pulling the grill out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I made a video on how to shape the hook and all that stuff to get the hood latch undone without mangling anything. You might scratch your truck a little bit, but the older ones,
it's better than the alternative.
yeah, the older ones, the cable is accessible from behind the grill, so you could take the grill out without popping the hood. The later ones, you have to have the hood pop to get the grill out because there's screws from the top. It's the 81 through 87 or later ones. I'm not as fond of the body style as I am the round eyes. Oh, he's testing a new hood, trying to match the bylines. Forgot to hook the cable up. Oh wow.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
that's
I
even
actually,
worse because of the brand new hood. So you definitely don't want to try to destroy it, trying to get it open.
Yeah. Actually, I made a hook for that video out of coat hanger, so I could actually prove it could be done with coat hanger. It's a little lighter, but then I made one out of like a 7018 welding rod, and I say it's in the glove box of the truck. As long as I don't lock the truck up, which I can get in that truck with it being locked up.
I agree with that. My nemesis is wire wheels in my skin. I'm good at removing, and they remove skin pretty fast. It doesn't take very long for you to bleed with a wire wheel or a grinder. I caught my knuckle the other day with a grinder. I don't remember what I was doing. I just touched it, just barely touched it. I didn't even hardly feel it, and I was bleeding.
Yeah. I've got one of my pair of gloves has a matching cut in it with, you can't see it. on the camera, but that scar almost goes to the bone on my knuckle from the cutoff wheel on my grinder. But my gloves have a matching scar or cut in them, so yeah. I showed it
Think
to
how
my
much
wife.
worse it would have been if you weren't wearing the gloves.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I was wearing my glove. I got proof. That cut matches this. But then I got plenty of other scars on my hands from grinders and cut off wheels that don't match a pair of gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. But I mean, I wish I would have put that in the video because it would have helped to have something to kind of prop it up. But at the time, I'm thinking, what have you got laying around to make it work?
I think autocorrect got him there. I think that's supposed to be 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a cool comment on that
That's a
video.
good
He
idea.
said he had a 5-gallon bucket handle. It's like that works out great.
That should already have a hook in the end of it. I don't know what the shape of the hook you made was, but
I don't remember. that's why I do the videos. It's for me to remember how to work on my stuff.
this is how I figured it out the last time. I can watch it if I need to do it again.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Oh, sweet.
I saw that video, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. The 3D printed LS coils or LS brackets for the LS coils on the Magnum motor. That'll be cool. I want a 3D printer. I just don't know where I would put it. I don't have anywhere to put it.
Yeah, and then then it's another thing that, and you're like me, when you get something like that, that consumes every bit of your being until you get it figured out.
Because there's Amber's dad has a 3D printer, and there's a learning curve to being able to, and then there's so many different types of wire, and
yeah,
I'll have to have a whole nother building just for all the stuff that goes along with 3D. I'm not going to buy a 3D printer.
Yeah, I know enough. I know a few people with them that.
Yeah.
I'll just let them do it. Not in the office.
Yeah, there's no more room in the office. Oh. That sounds like a pretty cool build.
Yeah. I still, I'm building a 339 small block for this truck. But this big block is just, I love big blocks. I'm a big block guy. And it's really tearing me up to, it just still don't seem right.
Yeah.
But, if I put that big block in cream puff, then I'll still have a short bed automatic big block.
Yep.
Hey, Jay's here from Irish Outlaw Garage.
Hello.
He's had some cool stuff going on his channel.
Yeah. That's I love the zip tie spark plug wire holders.
Yep, that's probably the best way. I don't know. I've used all sorts of aftermarket clip-on stuff, and they don't ever stay on, or if they stay on, it's like it just can't ever get it right. But the zip tie thing, which if you look at any of mine, none of my wires just kind of, I suspend them in a way where they're not too bad, but I don't run my plug wires the cleanest. That's for sure. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a I don't think any of my current vehicles have any kind of organization on the plug wires currently, but that if I was going to do it, that's how I would do it. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, you get the aftermarket ones, they're either too big and they don't fit tight and they fall off or they slide up and down. Or if you have like I have on something I have currently, or maybe in the box, I have those 10.4 wires. You can't get a wire holder that holds those. You can't fit them in there. It's just the zip tie thing is the best way.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping in, Zach, and I'm glad my video helped you out. That's the other cool thing about this YouTube deal. You know, when people leave comments of how I've helped them with my
Yep.
my videos, you know, it just that makes it all worthwhile. Oh,
Oh,
that
that
don't
stinks.
sound good.
I feel bad for you. I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah.
That's a rough combination there.
Uh, yeah. Well, we've been discussing that, and I know you kind of came in late on the live. So we've been kind of discussing that back and forth on what I'm doing from this point forward. I think from now on, I'm going to start out in second and just work on getting the second to third shift down, which that transmission, it did. Last time I was doing that, it shifts really smooth for the type of transmission it is. It's one of the smoothest shifting 465s I've ever had. And from second to third is pretty smooth. And with the way I've got the shifter moved, it's bent back and down and up a little bit. It actually shortened the throw on it, so I don't have a long throw anymore. I didn't actually shorten the shifter itself. It's just the way I bent it. It shortened the throw of it. My son says it's physics, but yeah, I think with the 339, I'll definitely probably going to have to start out in second. But the one thing I'll have with the 339 that I don't have the big block is RPM. You know,
And
if I have
nitrous.
to, and nitrous. But if I have nitrous on the big block, it's just I feel kind of like a sissy because I'm a little reluctant to use it right now on the big block. I know it's not going to hurt it. Everything's good. Everything's right. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we do have a name for the auction truck, but we're waiting to reveal the name till we get back to the auction truck. I need to get back on it, but I've got plenty of other projects to work on.
You have perpetual projects too.
Yes. Oh, Jay blacked out playing the drums Saturday night.
Huh. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, we've discussed back and forth on the shifting and stuff, which I don't mind saying again. It's if you have questions about it, I can answer them. So yeah, this has been kind of an ongoing thing, you know, as far as everybody wanting to guess what the 339 will make, and my hopes, and I think it's obtainable. You know, my
I think
machinist,
it's realistic.
he's built several Stroker 305s, not to the point. Most people don't put the kind of stuff that I'm putting in this one, you know, the I-beam rods, you know, chromoly rods and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking for a 400. I would be happy with right around 400 horsepower NA.
I think Jay said it wasn't a good time.
Nah. This one's for you.
My name's Travis, and I'm bringing a 1990 Dodge 150 long bed with a big block. It's so we call it extra parts because that's what it started out as. We just threw a bunch of parts we had together to build a big block and make the truck run, and never intended to actually really do anything with it. But it's kind of turned into our because race truck.
Yeah. It's a top loader transmission, so on down the road, if money becomes less of an issue, when I get to be big YouTube famous and have all the YouTube money to play with, I thought about seeing if there's any way to get a hold of someone to make, a taller second gear. But, then if you go to that point, is it still, it's not the same transmission. It's not, my goal is just to make this truck the fastest I can make it with that transmission, and keeping that transmission fairly stockish, I guess. The plus side is there's actually more stuff out there for those transmissions than what people think, because truck pulling guys use them a lot.
Yeah.
So there's companies out there. I got to get into the truck pulling world, but there's a few things for those transmissions that I might look into on down the road. Auto Salvage Outlaws popped in. 339. The duration is 230 something, 240 something at 50. And the heads are the Speedmaster. Now remember what CC they are. The combustion chamber is 64 cc. It's got 202 160 valves. They're the aluminum Speedmaster heads.
I don't even know what Speedmaster, do they offer more than one, or is it just the whatever the one that they have?
No, they have a really big selection.
Do they?
Small block Chevy, big block Chevy, LS. They've got a really big selection.
I don't guess I understand that comment.
I think that's kind of just the point. Just I don't know. I know that word will either make people cringe or laugh. Oh.
I want to know who convinced Richard to paint one something other than black.
I don't know. Should I take credit for that, Richard? Did I what's the word?
Influence.
There you go. Influence you to do that. Yeah. Of course, we could touch on the LS situation or topic, but oh yeah, moist just meant to make people laugh.
It worked.
Yeah. It was black. but now it's white. And then it'll be black
Yeah.
again. Every fingerprint. Every time you touch it, even with clean hands, it seems like there's a fingerprint on it.
When I saw you painting it, I'm like, I was a doubter, but it looks really good. But I can imagine because even like I paint all my motors lime green, and they still have black fingerprints all over them. I mean, it's not a really dark color, so it's probably no better than the white as far as that goes.
Oh,
all the way. Well, I don't know if he'll have it because it.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing, and if I try to get back, because it won't let me copy it. I tried to copy it. Hold on, let me.
Uh-oh. He's back.
I'm back. See, that's what happens. But
did you get the link while you were away?
Yeah, that's what I was going for, but I hit the wrong button. There's the link if anybody wants to jump in. Textured white. And I love wrinkled black finished valve covers. I used to have a set of Mickey Thompson's that I finished with the black wrinkle finish. The only problem with that is once they get dirt and stuff in them, they're hard to keep clean.
I have the ones on my 440 are wrinkle black, just stock valve covers. That paint can be a little bit tough to get an even wrinkle on the whole. I think I painted them 3 times before I finally got a good even finish on the whole thing. There's a little bit of a learning curve for that stuff.
Yeah, Richard said he primed it and then painted it. This is the first engine block that I've ever primed first.
I've never primed one. Do you think it helped?
I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I think. Yep. Here's Jay.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm a little worse for wear.
I'm impressed that you're talking. Every time I've ever had strep, the last thing I wanted to do was talk.
Well, I never have lost my voice, and I was sick all last week, but I just had a cold, right? So then Saturday morning, I got up and I went and I bought me a new toy. I got a brand new 2023 Massey Ferguson Some Compact because I needed, something really nice around here with all my garbage. And on my way back, it's only like 5 miles from me. On my way back, all of a sudden, man, it just nailed me. Just nailed me. And I had to play that night. So I told everybody in the band, I said, I'm just going to be on, I've had this happen before where I'm sick when I play, but I've never canceled a show in my 30-some years of playing live music. I've never canceled a show, ever. Not once. And I show up and I start playing. I get about the first set done, and then we start going through the second set, and I get about halfway through, and I look at the singer because I had screwed up royally. Like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I don't screw up very often. If I do, it's usually a laughable moment, But this was horrible. And I didn't know I did it. And I looked over at my guitar player I've been friends with for 30-some years. He just had this big look on his face. And we ended the song, and he goes, "Dude, you're white as a ghost, and you were staring at your drums just wide open. Your eyes were, I was gone." But I felt horrible. And I didn't drink a drop. I was drinking water. And I ended up having to take a 45-minute break to go out to my truck and lay down.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And I ended up finishing the night. Next day I got up. I tried to do some stuff. The next morning, oh God, I couldn't do nothing, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse. So this morning, or yesterday, I woke up. And my truck's broken, by the way. It broke leaf spring on the front of a Kenworth W900 turning a corner. That was fun.
Oh wow.
Front leaf. So I automatic lowering kit, and anyway, I made it through Monday, and I couldn't sleep. Everything was painful. So I went to the doctor this morning. They diagnosed me, gave me all kinds of horse pills. I took one of those horse pills and some steroids, and I tell you what, today it was 80 degrees here, and I felt decent. And I've been working on the Javelin all day. Question. It's got a 727 torque flight in it. They call it Torque Command.
Yep.
The AMC. Me and my transmission guy have been trying to figure this thing out, and I thought I had it figured out, but it's a little better, but it's not. Whenever I go to drive, it'll, with the brake on, it'll get you into gear, but it don't, slam. You go to reverse, that thing about puts you through the windshield. Everything rattles, sounds like the rear end's going to fall apart. And I know the rear end needs some work, but it ain't this bad. And if you let off the brake, this thing at 500 or 400 RPMs will try to take off.
In reverse?
In reverse. If you let off the brake, either way, drive or reverse, it'll try to take off. I adjusted the rear plunger diaphragm. Yeah. Got about a 3/8. You can pull it down about 3/8. It's perfect. Everything looks good. Nothing's burnt. No clutch material. No nothing. So why is this thing slamming into gear?
Is there a sprag or something that might be broke?
I don't think that would affect.
It sounds like, actually, if it's doing that, it sounds like the torque converter's already.
That is a guess that I had, that the torque converter is stuck, because it still has the pump only in neutral. Nobody converted it. It does have a shift kit, okay, but this is, I'm not kidding. It will rattle your teeth.
I'm not that versed in troubleshooting them. I know how to take them apart, put them together, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. Usually with these, they're good. Anything, me, Mopar is a good boat anchor, and you're testing me with that. So unfortunately, this thing has that torque fight, and I'm sure they're great transmissions. A lot of people swear by them and race with them and all. I'm just joking around, but it's still. This isn't a race car. It don't have anything. The cam that I put in it is just barely over a torque cam.
I can tell you
it was doing this before I built that motor.
So, and he's pretty local to you. I bet you if you call John Cope,
he's up in Valparaiso. He's quite a ways from me, actually.
Yeah. Well,
my tranny guy said my trans guy's been messing with him too a long time, and he told me everything about it. He says if this don't work, then you're probably looking at it needs something stuck in it, either a torque converter or something.
Yeah.
Well, what sucks is my MO usually with these things is when I pull the motor, I pull the trans, and usually I'll just get the trans redone while I'm rebuilding the motor. Well, I thought the trans was fine, so I didn't do that this time, and now I got 2 months before power tour. So here I am, Yeah. So I'm probably just going to pull the damn thing and bring it to him and let him go through it and see if there's something broken in it. If not, then I know it's something else, and I got a brand new transmission.
So First Responder Garage just popped in, and he said check the bore wear on the reverse piston. It could be worn and hanging up. That's the other guy that I thought he already left. He's pretty versed on the torque flight transmissions as well.
Where's it at? Oh, first responder.
garage.
Yeah.
So you'll have to pull the pan to do that, but that where that arm is that you adjusted the
Right.
rear band, that's the reverse servo
Right.
or the reverse piston. And he's saying if the bore is wore, that could be hanging up and causing a problem.
But would that cause forward drive? Just in drive, not all the way down to 1. It does the same thing. It's just not as, pronounced. And we're talking it'll be down to 400 RPMs. You let off the brake and that thing wants to take off. Forward or reverse. But it always slams in reverse.
I think that's going to have to be in front of the transmission because so the reverse is the high gear clutch and the reverse band, and first gear is just in drive is just the sprag in the back and the direct or the forward clutch, which is the rear clutch. So they're not using any of the same parts for first gear and reverse. Really, the only thing it would have to be a torque converter problem. I would almost just by knowing how it works and guessing, I'm gonna say torque converter's got to be where your problem's at. But I don't know.
That's kind of where I'm going for. But if I'm gonna pull the thing, you know what I mean?
It's not that big a deal to go through it while you have it out.
Yeah, and my guy can do it for $450, which most places want 12, 13, 14, and I can get just a torque converter for it.
Yeah.
It don't need a stall. It don't need nothing. That's kind of what I was maybe thinking was that torque converter's locked up. Be my guess.
I mean, that's what I would lean towards. Just because neither of those two situations where it's slamming into gear and trying to take off at 400 RPMs uses the same parts,
right.
The same part of the transmission. It's
different. And regardless, at that RPM, the torque converter shouldn't be stalling out.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Yeah, the torque converter should be slipping anyway.
Because what are they normally, like 14 to 1500?
Yeah, something like that.
I would
see 1,000.
I think a stock torque converter will flash to 1,800 or 2,000. But I mean, you should be able to easily idle at 400 and not have it try to.
Yeah.
See, this is all Greek.
So the forward piston is the piston inside the front or the rear clutch pack that applies to the forward clutches, which is what the forward clutches are engaged in all three forward gears.
Well,
but it wouldn't be applied in reverse unless you have two problems.
I think it might be that torque converter is not allowing a stall. It's just doing whatever.
What it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put like a 4,000 stall in this little 200 horse 304. Wouldn't that be fun?
Well, you have
neutral drop without a neutral drop. I don't know. I think I'm to the point where I'm just going to pull the son of a bitch and bring it to him and say, go. Because I still got, I got basically 2 months. I still got to change the rear springs. I got to fix the rust hole that got extremely larger over the winter. And then we get the title for the ambulance tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome. Right.
So I get the brakes, make sure they're all good on that thing, and a backup camera and a backup beeper I already got a new tank in it. I got an actual fuel tank in it. It's not the right fuel tank, but it's a fuel tank.
So are you taking the ambulance on power tour too?
No. No. No, gas is high enough. I don't need to help supply BP with more money. I don't know. I think in the next couple of years, it'll come local. I will. We'll bring it on Power Tour. I don't want to take it that far just being untested. I mean, it's only driven was down the track,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't have enough time to make sure all that. And the floor, let's just say, ain't exactly what you'd call safe-ish.
Yeah.
So I may want to, I'm still, since things are kicking back in and you can start getting parts again for probably 3 times the price they used to be, but I'm going to look at buying a complete B-body floor and stick that in there.
First Responder Garage said if it's dragging, it will slam reverse, and when it's locked up, it'll drive forward in any gear.
Yep. That's what it's doing.
So that, I mean, could be that forward clutch is, like he's talking about, it's wedged. The piston is wedged and dragging that clutch pack could be causing.
And that's internal, right?
Yes, that's inside the
So I like I said, I'm
transmission has to
probably
come out in order to fix that. There's no way to fix that in the car.
yeah. That's what I said. I'll just pull the damn thing, take it to him, have him build it, and I'll buy me a brand new core converter, and we'll just fix it all at once.
There you go.
Now here's a good question. Also, I noticed on this car, it has the original drive shaft in it. How far out does the slip yoke need to be sticking out, or how far in or out does it go on a 727? Is it just like anything else? Like if it's only out an inch, you know, or an inch and a half, so you measure it from, because this son bitch is out that far.
So hold on,
Now,
I'll be right back.
To me, that sounds like a lot of pressure on your rear, on that rear bushing. And we're talking, it's sitting out 3 inches, 4 inches, but it's all original.
The
So maybe I have
the slip yoke.
This is one 727 slip yoke I have, and that's 8 inches. So if you have that one, 3 inches really isn't that much. But then
We're
this
still
is
talking about slip yokes.
Yeah, this is a different 727 slip yoke I have, and it's only probably 6 inches long. So if it's only,
Okay.
So it I don't know what you have, but
It may be like that.
They can be really long. Some of the 727 slip yokes are really long.
But you also remember mine is a short shaft. Like most 727s are, you know, they got the long tail on them. Mine's more like this. I'm being realistic. See, I don't throw 8 inches, 10 inches out there. I'm being realistic. I'm white and Irish, so. But no, it's a short shaft.
So as far as a Dodge goes, as far as I know, the only short shaft 727 like that has a fixed yoke. It's not a slip yoke. So
I actually have an AMC fixed shaft 727. Came out of a mail Jeep. Got 150 miles on it. So I got guts. I need parts. I got guts.
There you go.
So I'm just going to pull it, and I'll get me a new torque converter and just be done with it. I think they're like $90. You know, I don't need anything crazy. It's that little 260 cam ain't throwing enough oomph into it to need a stall. So,
yeah,
man, I need to get a haircut. I'm sticking out everywhere. But yeah, that's what I'm dealing with. I just put up the GS 340. I just put a video on my members thing for it. Especially when you're folding it in half. That's how I fit into those biker shorts when I'm out on the beach.
First responder said, "What year is your Jeep Trans?"
Yeah.
Shop Cat's
It's
here.
70. It's either late 70s, early 80s. I can't remember exactly what year that mail truck is what it come out of. I don't remember what year it was. The old right-hand drive. Everybody using this shit. Hold on a minute.
See you, first responder.
See you, first responder.
See you, man.
I'm gonna go back. Reloading fun. Which I know he said his name before, but I can't remember it. But he asked a couple questions about the 465 transmissions. I think with this question and this question go together. The all 4 gears match or go with the counter shaft in the bottom. So I think to actually change gear ratios, you'd almost have to have the counter shaft re-geared also, if I'm thinking right.
I don't know how one of those works specifically, but I would say you're probably correct. You'll have to change the counter shaft and whatever gear on the main shaft that you want to switch out.
But I can't remember. I know third gear on the counter shaft is removable because that's actually a weak point in those transmissions. It's got a snap ring that holds third gear in place on the counter shaft. And if you have a PTO gear on it, you take that snap ring out, and the PTO gear goes in that spot to hold third gear in. But that snap ring will break sometimes, so that third gear pop out on the counter shaft or move around. So you can get an aftermarket, or you can make basically a spacer that takes up that space where the PTO gear would be and get rid of the snap ring. And that's something I'm probably going to have to look into doing because third gear is going to be taking a lot of punishment getting shifted into or launching if I get that figured out.
I'm not sure. I think a nitrous launch with the big block in third gear would be more punishment than shifting into third gear.
Yeah. Let's see. I hope that answered your question on that. They were talking about short shafts and
there's a can of worms.
Shop cap. Yeah. Yeah, he was talking about the a truck that his buddy's trying to buy last couple lives. Guess that deal fell through. Yeah. I think you'll have to change the counter shaft gear and the gear on the main shaft as a shaft.
Not every gear that it's meshed with, just the one that you want to change the ratio on.
Yeah. Yeah, if that transmission, especially for what I'm doing with that particular transmission, second gear needs to be taller. Now in my crew cab with the same transmission, it really just needs another gear in between. It needs two more gears. It needs two more gears. It needs a gear in between second and third, and it needs an overdrive. So I need 6-speed.
Yeah, that's not a SM465 anymore.
No, but that's the thing. It's fun with that transmission trying to do this.
Yeah. Well, yes.
It don't make sense, but it's still fun because.
Well, I'm talking about for your crew cab.
Oh yeah. I've got two NV4500s sitting in the barn that one of them might eventually get in that truck. It would be either that or a 4L80.
Well, I'm gonna head and go to bed. I got to put Zeppy to bed, and I think it's time for me to just hit the seat.
Sorry,
Yeah.
not
Probably
to,
shouldn't have been doing what I've been doing anyway all day.
Problems.
But I'm off tomorrow yet still, so I think I'll just get up and pull a transmission.
There you go.
Have fun.
It's just nuts and bolts. That's all it is. Nuts and bolts.
Yeah. Yeah, for the fourth time in a month.
I can see the regret in your eyes for not doing it while you had the motor out.
Yeah, that's my usual MO. I do it all the time. Last 2 times I didn't. Look what happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I get. Oh well. You guys take care.
You too. Have a good night.
See you, Jay. Thanks for stopping in.
Yep.
He did get it lit.
Yeah. I think about that sometimes when I'm out in the shop and I smoke my pipe. Sometimes smoking a pipe is I guess you could consider an art maybe. Sometimes I get it packed in there just right and smoke it while I'm working in the shop and smoke the whole thing down, never have to relight it. You got to keep tamping it. You got a little tamper. You got to tamp it down. And then it seems like if I'm around anybody, if I'm on these lives, I'm sitting there constantly trying to light it. I get it packed too tight. It's
I have no experience smoking a pipe. Never done it. My dad used to smoke a pipe when I remember it smelled good.
Yep. I got into it about 4 or 5 years ago, and I found some tobacco that tastes really good and smells really good. It's kind of relaxing. I used to smoke cigarettes all the time. I was 2-pack a day, and then I went to chewing and smoking, and then my respiratory system said I needed to quit smoking.
Yeah, I was a
Every
smoker
once in a
for
while.
quite a while too. Then I bought a new car and refused to smoke in it, so I started chewing instead and have ever since.
Now I got spit cups in every vehicle, and
Well, on that note, I think I'm also going to head to bed.
yeah, it's getting a little bit late. Well, not too late, but yeah.
You
I'm about ready.
never did get any storms in, sounds like?
I don't guess. I haven't heard anything or felt anything, so
That's good.
of course that our house being an in-ground house and fairly well insulated, it has to rain really, really hard for us to really hear it. But
Yeah.
I never heard any thunder or nothing, so
Well, good.
so maybe we dodged it, or maybe it's coming later. I don't know. I may wake up in Kansas, or I guess I'd be going the opposite way. I'd wake up in Kentucky. Or so I guess the way it goes, probably Southern Illinois, and that ain't good.
No.
I was going to mention earlier, real quick, before we cut this off, we got some new faces, I guess you could say, in here. Loki 13, of course, Mike's Carhole. I think he's been in here before, but looks like he's brought some guys in. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
And before we end it off, we'll hold on. Oh, brought a lawn tractor for a transmission. I seen this comment first. I'm like, what tractor needs a big block? I'm interested. But we forgot to say anything about it on the last slide. But I think by now most of the viewers know that we alternate weeks. So don't forget, next week be on Perpetual Projects channel, 7 o'clock, and then a little bit after that, at 8:05, somewhere around there will be the after hours. So make sure you go over there. If you're not subscribed to Travis over at Perpetual Project, make sure you get over there and subscribe to them. And if you're not subscribed to me, go do that too.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. And I guess, there's that join button down below. You can hit the join button and donate monies to the cause of doing the weird things I do with granny low 4 speeds and 305s and help support my madness. Yeah. We'll go ahead and end this off and
There's a video of a lawn tractor with a big block on it. That sounds interesting. That seems like a lot of work, though.
Yeah.
It's fun. Maybe.
Yeah. It'd be fun to build something crazy like that one of these days.
Yeah.
There we go. V-twin brigs stuck together. 4 V-twins stuck together. Holy cow. I bet that has a wicked tone to
it. Yeah. Wait, is that the big block cruising 30 or 40 or the 4 V-twins cruising 30 or 40 miles an hour?
I'm thinking it's the big block.
I'm thinking
He's talking
so
about
too.
the big block. Yeah, that's crazy. I can imagine, those little V-twin brakes and Strattons are, small engines. They have a cool tone to them with straight pipes.
Yeah.
And then have 4 of them together.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I've watched the videos of some of these guys with turbo tractors and like ripping through a field or ripping down the blacktop. I mean, just getting with it.
Yeah. If you have the determination, you could put any engine on or in just about any vehicle.
Yeah. Well, we've got a little 8-in Ford. Of course, they've got a little flathead 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of those converted to V8 flatheads. I think I've seen some with like LS motors or, like you said, with enough time and money, you could put any engine in anything.
Yeah.
All right. I think we'll end it off, guys. We're an hour and a half into this, but yeah, check out Travis's channel next week. We'll be over there, and they usually have a good topic to start out with, but
we'll see. Sometimes we do.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably won't ever happen, but I've seen they look pretty cool. All right, guys, we'll end it off, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for coming. Have a good night.